The American captured in Afghanistan fighting with the Taliban made his first appearance in a U.S. courtroom today. Good evening, everyone. I'm Julian Grace.
And I'm Stacey Russell. John Walker heard the charges the government has brought against him. CNN's Bill Prasad is at the courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia, and has more. It's tonight's top story.
John Walker has had his 15 minutes in court. His attorneys have pleaded their case in front of the courthouse. Walker is accused of 4 criminal counts that include conspiracy to kill Americans abroad and supporting terrorist groups.
Under tight security, 20-year-old John Walker arrived at the federal courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia, to formally hear the charges leveled against him by the U.S. government.
Those charges are very serious. This is certainly a matter that has of the utmost gravity with it, and he understands the charges.
Walker accepted the legal team hired by his parents to represent him. Attorney James Brosnahan expressed his frustrations at the government's handling of his client so far.
For 54 days, while he was kept incommunicado, while he was kept away from a lawyer, officials in the federal government leaked or stated out loud their understanding of the evidence in the case in violation of the rule of this courthouse.
Walker was captured in December while fighting with the Taliban. He was one of about 80 Taliban soldiers who survived a bloody prison uprising near Mazar-e-Sharif. Killed during that uprising was CIA agent Mike Spann. The White House is eager to see Walker punished.
He will now get the justice he deserves. That he has been charged with something extraordinarily serious.
The parents of John Walker say they stand firmly behind their son and believe in his innocence.
John loves America. We love America. John did not do anything against America. John did not take up arms against America. He never meant to harm any American.
Walker is scheduled for a preliminary hearing on February 6th. He could be tried this fall. If convicted, he could get life in prison. In Northern Virginia, I'm Bill Prasad. Back to you.
In Afghanistan, U.S. Special Forces soldiers have been wounded in a firefight. The confrontation took place about 40 miles north of Kandahar during a search for 2 suspected Taliban and al-Qaeda compounds. Military officials said the soldiers' wounds are not life-threatening.
Yesterday, our time, early today, Afghan time, we conducted a raid against Taliban leadership in a mountain region north of Kandahar. Our forces attacked 2 compounds and detained 27 individuals. There were enemy forces killed in this action, and 1 U.S. Special Forces soldier was slightly injured. He was wounded in the ankle and has been evacuated.
Special Forces have been patrolling grounds throughout eastern Afghanistan and other key areas. They're scurrying caves, hideouts, and villages looking for Taliban and al-Qaeda resistance.
2 members of Indiana's congressional delegation plan to head to Cuba tomorrow. Republicans Steve Boyer and Brian Kearns are making a 1-day trip to review the conditions at the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo Bay. The facilities have become a holding place for those detained in the Afghan war. In Washington, President Bush brushed aside an international outcry over treatment of the detainees. He told legislators they should be proud of how detainees were treated. All the prisoners are suspected terrorists who fought for the al-Qaeda or ousted Afghan Taliban regime.
Hoosier motorists may be able to step a little harder on the gas pedal next year. A House committee has approved a bill on Wednesday to increase the legal speed limit from 55 to 65 miles per hour on the highways and from 65 to 70 miles per hour on the interstate. The Bill 1308 still has numerous roadblocks. Indiana is one of 6 states that haven't adjusted speed limits since Congress lifted mandated bans 21 years ago. David Wilkins, the bill's sponsor, said Indiana needs to implement a sensible speed limit. Lawmakers have postponed a vote on a bill that would allow teachers to lead the Pledge of Allegiance and offer a moment of silence. The House Education Committee decided there were too many unsolved issues to take a vote immediately after yesterday's testimony. The committee removed language from the bill that described the moment of silence as a time for meditation and prayer.
Two companies selling vacuum cleaners have filed a challenge to an Indiana law designed to prevent unwanted calls from telemarketers. Evansville-based Steve Martin and Associates and Amco Associates are challenging the law. Attorney General Steve Carter said today he will fight for the law that allows Hoosiers to sign up for a no-call list. Martin says the law prevents him from recruiting new customers through referrals by current customers. More than 780,000 people signed up for the no-call list by the initial deadline in December. Well, Mulan, the deadline for you. When is it going to snow? It's winter. What's the deal?
Snow is not in our forecast at all. Matter of fact, our temperatures are going to start to rise back up by tomorrow. Before tonight, it's going to start to clear off just a tad bit, and the temperature is going to reach up to 26 with our wind west at 8 miles per hour. But I have your complete forecast in a few.
Thanks a lot. Some positive news for both the U.S. and European economies, while the situation for Enron continues to get worse.
Plus, a scary day for some Pennsylvania school children. We'll have the details when NewsCenter at 5:30 returns. School children on board a bus that disappeared this morning in southeastern Pennsylvania are safe. Authorities discovered the bus 114 miles away from Pennsylvania in suburban Washington, D.C. Pennsylvania police say Washington police pulled the bus over and took the armed driver into custody. It's not clear if the man who was driving the bus was the same man driving this morning. All 13 children are safe.
Enron chairman Kenneth Lay resigned last night, saying he could no longer lead the company amid the various investigations which surround it. Enron filed for bankruptcy last month, making it the largest such filing in U.S. corporate history. About 4,000 Enron employees were laid off and thousands more lost their retirement savings after the energy company's stock plummeted. Many employees and investors say Enron misled them about the company's financial status through what one Washington lawmaker calls shady accounting.
Some positive economic news today from Federal Reserve's Chief Alan Greenspan. Greenspan told a Senate panel he's seen encouraging signs recently that we're in the midst of a turnaround and the recession could soon end. Analysts say the comments mean an interest rate cut this month is highly unlikely.
According to a Ball State University educator, the new monetary currency for Europe should make it a stronger player in world markets. The euro became the official currency for about 300 million residents in 12 countries 1 month ago. BSU professor Ron Doyen says the single currency is a major step forward in unifying Europe. The European countries included could expand by 30 to 35 nations in the next 20 years, making the euro the currency of choice for nearly 500 million people. But Doyen believes it may take 10 to 15 years before the euro challenges the American dollar as the world's most important currency.
Kmart promised that their bankruptcy won't close. Good news for current employees, but when one Kmart retiree called to check on her pension, she didn't like what she heard on the other end of the line. Kate Scott has more.
Humane Society sued.
Sue Sample retired from Kmart in 1991, long before she started thinking about actually collecting her retirement pension. Even now, with her job at the Humane Society, she says it's something that she probably never would have questioned until Kmart went bankrupt.
It's like, well, maybe I should check and see, because I don't know if their retirement is protected. I don't have a clue.
But when Sample tried to call Kmart on Tuesday to get some answers, she felt like all she got was the runaround.
I was put on hold 4 times. I was asked what it pertained to. Then I was asked if it pertained to the bankruptcy. Then I was told that I would have to talk to a manager to get that number.
When Sample finally got a number, she dialed an automated system that didn't give her any answers before it hung up on her.
So we tried calling Kmart from Heartland News and also got a hard time getting a hold of a real person. The associate hotline, though, did give us a 3-minute-long message promising that Kmart's pension plans are still intact.
The 401k and pension plans are maintained separately from the company and are protected under the United States law.
And after the message, an actual person picked up who wouldn't talk to us, but assured Sample her money is still there.
I do feel better at that they're actually, he told me how to get a live operator and, a real person to talk to, and that does make me feel a little bit better.
Well, Mulan, we're not getting any snow is what you're telling me.
But how about rain, though?
All right, we may have some rain, but that won't come to early next week. But as we look at our radar coming up here, we see that the rain we had this morning is out of our way and it's to the south. And for the weekend, it's going to be clear, sunny skies for us. But I'll have your complete forecast right after the break. For a day in January, we are still having those above normal temperatures. We didn't get what we got yesterday, but we did get up to 39 degrees today. Our normal low is at 15, and our low in which we got this morning was at 34. Now, as we take a look at our highs around Indiana on our next graphic here coming up, we see that South Bend got up to 35, Fort Wayne, Lafayette, and Terre Haute tied for 37, and Evansville topped off our map, getting up to 48 degrees. As we take a look at what's going on out there right now, we see it's cloudy with a temperature of 35 degrees with our winds, which are northwest at 12 miles per hour. As we take a look at our satellite, we see we have a lot of cloud cover up here on the western side, and we also have a lot of cloud cover stretching from Texas on up to Delaware. And as we take a look at our radar, we're going to see that we have some rain associated with that cloud cover, and that rain is mostly severe in areas like Tennessee, and we also see that snow, which I was talking about, off in the northwestern off the coast. And as we see our area, look at that. All the rain is to the south of us, and that rain is going to continue to be to the south of us as we have this high pressure system in our area, which is drying us out. And as we take a look at this cold front, and which this is why we're getting that rain, because we have this warm air coming out from the Gulf, and then we have this cold air coming in, and where it meets, that's where we're having the disturbance, and that's why we are getting the rain in our area. And as we take a look at the lows for tonight, look at that. We're going to be in the middle teens and in the 20s for the central part of the U.S. And for us, we're going to be experiencing just some 20s, some upper 20s for us for tonight. And as we look at what we're going to be getting for tonight, look at that. Mostly clear out there, a low of 28 degrees with our winds west at 8 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to be waking up to some mostly sunny skies with a temperature of 28, and our winds will be southwest at 8 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow when we get on with our day, we're going to be having some 50s in the central part of the U.S. And as we look down here to the south, we see we gradually begin to warm up. But for tomorrow, for us, it's going to be sunny with a high of 45 degrees, and our winds will be southwest at 11 miles per hour. Now, as we take a look at our 3-day there, look at that. Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have some sunny to mostly sunny skies. And on Monday, the rain will return. But look at that, 52 on Saturday, on Sunday, 53, and on Monday, 54. So we're gradually going to be warming up in the weekend and leading into next week. So that's something to look forward to, but we are going to get some rain. To answer your question, are we going to have rain coming into our schedule?
But Friday and Saturday look absolutely beautiful, correct?
Beautiful, so get out and enjoy, yeah.
I will. Thanks a lot for that report, Milan. After nearly 12 years of planning, building, and then rebuilding, Ball State's Schafer Bell Tower is finally finished. Today we got a tour of what it looks like on the inside.
This is the clavalier. This is actually the, if you want to call it the keyboard that would play the bells. There's actually two ways that the bells are played. One is electronically, and there's a control for that over in the music building. Or you can actually come up here and physically, pull these levers and so forth and play the instruments. That's what all these cables are that you see up here.
The 48 carillon bells came from France earlier this year. They'll soon be ringing every hour on the hour and at special events like Cardinal basketball games.
If you've driven past the intersection of McKinley and Riverside Avenues, you might have noticed a traffic sign I guarantee you're not used to seeing. Tonight, we can tell you why.
The five-man electrical band said it all. Signs are everywhere. Their meaning clear as day. But what about this one? What's with the ring there?
It's a circle.
No clue.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Okay.
I didn't even know there was a sign there, really, to tell you the truth. But yeah, now that I look at it. Wait, there's one on it up there too, huh?
Yeah, there is. About 10 feet from the first sign. The same thing. Huh. Makes you think. So what does this sign mean?
Hula Hooper Crossing.
Hi, this is Dustin Grove from NewsCenter 43. I got a question for you. There's an orange diamond-shaped traffic sign. It's on the intersection of Riverside and McKinley. And it looks like the guy has it looks like a hula hoop around him, and nobody seems to know what that is. Do you have? No. No idea? You know who I should call? Nobody seems to know. But walk down McKinley Avenue and get a closer look.
I don't think that sign's real. I think there's a sticker on it.
Yep, it's a prank.
Well, somebody put it there, obviously.
And even though this sign isn't real, this girl says it still shows an important message.
No hula hooping.
Do this, don't do that, can't you read the sign?
So now you know. And by the way, police say there are heavy consequences, meaning hefty fines, for altering traffic signs. Speaking of heavy traffic, Ball State's basketball winning streak's bringing a lot of people here to see some games.
That's
What's
right.
going on?
They got a 6-game winning streak going on, and we've also got a few more streaks from the basketball team, and we have some late word on Ted Williams coming up in my report later on.
Great.
The Ball State men's basketball team took a 5-game winning streak into Worthen Arena last night against MAC-foe Western Michigan. To Worthen Arena we go. And professional superfan Crazy George Henderson in attendance. Look how fired up he is. Cards are trying to break out of their late streak of slow starts. Lonnie Jones helps the cause here, the slam in the first quarter. And later on in the first quarter, Petey Jackson doing exactly what he does best, nails the 3 to help BSU jump out to an 8-point lead in the first 6 minutes of the game. And even with that, crowd's not really looking fired up right now. Come on, Crazy George is here, guys. Can't you get excited about that? Maybe this will help. T. Smith with the turnaround jumper and 1. And then the 3 balls start kicking in from here on out. First, Petey Jackson, after the dish from Lonnie Jones, hits yet another 3. Then Chris Jackson knocks one down on his own after the feed from McCollum. And finally, after the drive by Chris Williams, later on in the quarter, Ryan Burns tips in the easy bucket for a big Ball State win. Ball State rolls 74-61 against Western Michigan. Petey Jackson had his 5th straight double-double, and Chris Williams scored 19 points in the effort. The injury bug has bitten the Indiana Pacers yet again. This time it was bit hard with the loss of 6-man Al Harrington. With the season half over, the forward will miss the playoff stretch run with a torn ACL. Injury occurred during Wednesday night's loss to Boston. Harrington was off to his best start of his young 4-year career and was a likely candidate for the 6th man award. Wednesday, the search for a new head coach officially ended in Indianapolis. Tony Dungy signed a 5-year contract worth $13 million. Colts president Bill Polian decided to make the move based on Dungy's defensive prowess. Colts allowed a miserable league-worst 486 points last season. In 6 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dungy led the team to 4 playoff berths and turned the defense from a laughingstock into one of the most feared defenses in the league. Dungy replaces Jim Mora, who was fired after 4 years as head coach of the Colts. And baseball legend Ted Williams was rushed to a Gainesville, Florida hospital earlier today. Last year, Williams had open-heart surgery and spent over 10 weeks in recovery. There's no word yet on the condition of the 83-year-old Williams, nor of the reason why he was sent to the hospital. Williams is regarded as perhaps the greatest hitter in Major League history. And the NFL playoffs continue this weekend with the divisional championship games to decide who will get that trip to New Orleans for the Super Bowl next week. First on Sunday's docket will be the Patriots visiting the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Running back Jerome Bettis will finally start for the Steelers after yet another injury setback last week involving an allergic reaction to painkillers before the game. Kickoff will be at Heinz Field at 12:30 on CBS. And the NFC champion will be decided later on Sunday afternoon, with explosive quarterback Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the seemingly unstoppable St. Louis Rams in St. Louis. Kurt Warner will be the X factor for the Rams. This year's league MVP will be dealing with a plethora of injuries ranging from a nagging thumb injury and to bruised vocal cords. You can catch the game at 4:15 on the Fox network.
All right, guys, just for you, I did some homework.
Okay.
I watched the playoff game, and I was fascinated with the snow on the field between, what was it, New England and the Raiders?
Oh, that was
amazing.
It was. Did you see how the linemen got in a big circle before the kick, and they were brushing off all the snow for the kicker to get a nice...
It's great.
That's NFL football at its best. Thanks for that report, Joe.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this.
Stay tuned.
Oh, look at our weather for tonight. It's going to be mostly clear out there with a low of 26 degrees. Our wind is going to be west at 8 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow morning it's going to be mostly sunny with a low of 28 degrees, and our wind will be southwest at 8 miles per hour. Now, tomorrow when you get on with your day, the sun will continue, and it'll be 45 degrees with our wind southwest at 11 miles per hour. And look at our 3-day. On Saturday and Sunday, beautiful out there in the 50s. On Monday, the rain comes back into our schedule, but look at that. We'll still be at 54 degrees, so quite a beautiful weekend before the rain gets here on Monday.
It's not snow, but we'll handle it.
Hey, not that snow. That's
Thanks
right.
a lot, Mulan. An Indiana native who dropped out of a Terre Haute junior high school in the 1920s has earned the distinction of the oldest person to receive a general equivalency diploma. 94-year-old Cecil Smith had last attended classes when Warren Harding was president. Smith said he never really wanted to finish his education until his nephew told him about the GED classes. Despite poor vision, 3 hearing aids, an artificial hip, and a 10-year bout with prostate cancer, Smith finally persevered and got to put on the cap and gown. There are times when I feel like I'm not going to get out of here until I'm 94. I don't know about you guys.
I know exactly what you're saying. I'm still trying to get out of here, and I haven't got out of here just yet. So.
Well, thank you for joining us for NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm Stacey Russell.
And I'm Julian Grace. NewsCenter 43 is an official CNN student bureau.